Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a really vibrant chapter, Dances of Our Land. So, you might want to get your dancing bells ready because we're going to bypass all those generic textbook definitions and dive straight into the actual mechanics, the rich history, and the deep cultural resonance of India's regional dances. Let's get right to it.
To kick things off, I want to ask you a question. What rhythm moves your region? Seriously, take a quick second and think about it. We so often look globally for culture, but right in your own backyard, there are these incredible local dances, the traditional Loka Nrityas, that have literally served as the heartbeat of our communities for absolute generations.
Here's our quick itinerary for this explainer. First, we'll be discovering local rhythms. Then, we'll put a spotlight on Garba. After that, we'll take a tour across India, followed by comparing cultural beats, and finally, we'll be mapping out your dance journey.
All right, Section 1, Discovering Local Rhythms, the Heartbeat of Society.
So let's start by looking at Loka Nritya. The chapter defines these as traditional regional dances that exhibit the spirit, rhythm, and joy of a specific local community. Now, when you picture this, I want you to imagine the graceful movements, the very specific postures, and the gestures of local artists. These aren't just, randomly choreographed movements. They are living, breathing historical records deeply rooted in our society's celebrations. Every single hand gesture tells a story about the people who live there, essentially preserving their entire legacy through motion. It's really beautiful when you think about it.
Moving on to Section 2, let's look at a concrete example with a spotlight on Garba's swirls of Gujarat.
Just look at the vibrant energy here. This perfectly captures the essence of Gujarat's Garba. It's filled with these splendid swirls, tight twists, and incredibly graceful steps. As the chapter notes, Garba is traditionally performed during the festival of Navaratri to worship goddess Durga. But what's absolutely fascinating to me is how the dance acts as this amazing equalizer. It's an exhibition of pure positive energy and community togetherness, where absolutely everyone just joins the circle to celebrate as one.
Let's break down the actual mechanics of it. Garba is heavily driven by vibrant movements and this highly rhythmic clapping. And of course, you can't miss the colorful outfits, right? You've got the chaniya cholis for the women and the kiju kafni for the men. But actually, the most striking feature is probably the circular community patterns. Dancers move in concentric circles, which in Hindu philosophy traditionally represents the cyclical nature of time and life, all revolving around a central eternal source. It's like a giant, moving puzzle of positive energy.
Of course, you absolutely can't have all those energetic movements without a solid rhythmic backbone. The real driving force behind Garba's traditional folk music relies heavily on percussion. We're talking about the intricate beats of the tabla and that booming, barrel-shaped dole. Together, these two instruments dictate the tempo and just push the entire crowd into this shared, cathartic rhythm.
And check this out, the iconic, traditional, wooden dandiya sticks. These are an absolutely essential accompaniment. Striking these sticks together creates this sharp, rhythmic clack that synchronizes perfectly with the heavy thud of the dole we just talked about. It adds a really complex, high-frequency layer of joyful noise to the celebration. In a way, it actually turns the dancers themselves into active musicians, which is pretty cool.
Okay, let's step out of Gujarat for Section 3. Consider me your tour guide as we take a tour across India to explore some incredibly diverse rhythms.
So, this matrix from the chapter does a great job of laying out the incredible diversity of our land. Let's walk through it. Down south in Kerala, you have women performing the very graceful Thiruvathira Kali. They wear simple, elegant mundu and vesti during festivals like Onam and Shivratri, and the dance is guided just by folk songs and rhythmic claps. Now move up to Odisha, and the vibe completely changes. Here we have the tribal Sila dance kicking off the agricultural Chaitra Parva season to the heavy sounds of the dole and flute, with dancers wearing completely different costumes, natural tribal beads and shells. Then journeying way up north to Kashmir, we see groups of women performing the Rauth in loose parans and jewels, swaying to the Tumbaknari drum during Eid and Navroz. Side by side, this shows us exactly how local climate, religion, and agriculture literally dictate the rhythm and style of every single region.
Let's dive even deeper into that idea with Section 4, Comparing Cultural Beats. We're going to put Rajasthan right up against Meghalaya.
The visual contrast here is just striking, isn't it? On the left, we have Rajasthan's Kalbelia dance. Notice the dark langas? They are heavily embroidered with small mirrors, which is a design specifically meant to catch that fierce desert sun. Now look on the right, at Meghalaya's Nongkrem. It relies on these bold red and yellow textiles, with dancers wielding swords and white yak hair whisks. It brilliantly reflects the martial and agricultural heritage of the hills. I mean, they're literally wearing their geography on their sleeves.
But you know, the differences go way beyond just aesthetics. It's really about their core purpose. Let's look at the breakdown. Kalbelia is deeply tied to mythology, rituals, and festivals like Holi. It's performed by women, while the men sing, all driven by instruments like the woodwind pungi and the dufli. Nankram, on the other hand, is entirely focused on the earth. It's an autumn harvest festival meant to please the goddess for a plentiful yield, performed by both men and women, and powered by heavy drums and the tangmuri wind instrument. Seeing them side by side like this makes it so clear how a desert's mythology and a hillside's agriculture create completely 100% different languages of movement.
All right, bringing it to our final actionable segment, Section 5, your dance journey. Bringing it home.
The chapter makes a great point. To truly understand these rhythms, you kind of have to engage with them physically. So here are a few actionable steps for your own project. First, pinpoint a local dance and its accompanying folk song from your specific region. Second, get hands-on with the aesthetics. Try crafting handmade models of the traditional jewels used in that specific dance. Third, study a renowned modern Indian dancer who performs that style. Literally imitate their moves, their postures, and their gestures so you can really feel the physical demands. And finally, prepare and present your project with pictures and notes. It's a fantastic, active way to help preserve our rich cultural heritage.
And well, that brings us to the end of our exploration of this chapter today. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought. Which local dance form will you research first? I really hope this explainer has sparked your curiosity to step off the screen, go find the unique rhythm of your own region, and hey, maybe even try out a few steps yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, keep exploring.